Welcome back to the tundra here at Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. I'm not kidding when I say it is ridiculously cold in this building. We're going to try to get through it without shivering like a wet chihuahua. I want to welcome to the show, of course, Logan Hall. He is the Blaze Media digital strategist, along with Eric July, Blaze TV contributor and founder of Rippaverse Comics. Guys, am I lying about how cold it is?
No, you are not.
It is so cold. If you go back and watch the earlier shows this week, some of them, I was telling Logan, I put my hands under my butt just to keep them warm. Well, I guess this is really my thighs, but just to keep them warm because I started not being able to feel my fingers.
It's that Texas cold front.
Yeah, which
Texans aren't used to it.
No, we're not.
I'm a Midwesterner, so I'm a little bit more used to it than you guys are. But once it hits 40 degrees in the South, everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, it's freezing!"
I need 2 jackets. That is about right. So I want to talk to you guys about the all of these nominees and what's going right and what's going wrong, because we have Pete Hegseth, who cleared the first hurdle. But you have Senator Susan Collins of Maine and Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, who are, they are saying that they are going to break ranks with Republicans. Apparently, they didn't hear what time it was. Okay, they didn't get the memo. They didn't get the mandate memo. And they're saying that they are going to break ranks with the Republican Party by opposing Pete Hegseth's nomination to, of course, SecDef. And so you have Murkowski, who said, after thorough evaluation, I must conclude that I cannot in good conscience support his nomination for Secretary of Defense, along with Collins, who said, after careful consideration, I've decided to vote against Pete Hegseth's nomination for Secretary of Defense. I'm concerned that he does not have the experience and perspective necessary to succeed in this job. That's weird. It's almost like she's buying the left's line that he's just a Fox News host. Mm-hmm. Just a Fox News host, not an Army combat veteran, no experience whatsoever. They're trying to say, oh, he doesn't lack relevant experience. He has said before that
means he hasn't worked for any defense contractors.
Right, FYI. Exactly. He does not believe that women should be in combat, which I also believe, and I am a woman, so fight me, I guess. And they say that they worry that he wouldn't adhere to military policies and laws. Well, no, you just think that he might not be a deep state puppet. Yeah. And you're really worried that he's going to be some outsider and come in and shake all of this up, right? I mean, that's the only thing that I can think of for why they actually don't. Now they can pretend on the surface like, oh, I'm a little concerned with what I heard about how he was with his ex-wife. I'm a little concerned about the rumors that he was drunk. That's not what it is. All of you guys go out and get wasted together. I am quite sure. It's more along the lines of he's not going to be a puppet that can be controlled by the deep state. And you guys know that is all that I'm left to believe. Am I off base here?
No, absolutely not. And I think anybody who's paying attention knows that Trump's biggest roadblock to fulfilling his mandate after that massive electoral victory was always going to be these sort of squishy rhino. I don't even know if you could call them rhino, but squishy, old guard sort of Republicans, wishy-washy Republicans. Now, thankfully, I think Hegseth is he has the votes.
Yes.
Because Vance is the tiebreaker in the Senate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless there's someone else that comes out. But
But it is worth pointing out that Murkowski and Collins both voted for all of these radical appointments that Joe Biden made.
Exactly right.
So that should really show you where their allegiances lie, as opposed to to the Republican voters in their states that elected them. And hopefully if they keep this up, hopefully we get some of that Elon cash in there to primary them and get them the hell out of there.
Yeah, I mean, you have Susan Collins in Maine. I understand the argument, it's Maine, and we'd rather have a Republican who votes with us part of the time than a Democrat in there who never votes with us. I understand, but Lisa Murkowski has absolutely no excuse to be this gross feminist.
Yeah.
I mean, because she just has a history of like, to Logan's point, she did vote for Lloyd Austin, had no problem voting for Lloyd Austin. Was Lloyd Austin, did he have the experience for the job? I mean, he probably
was the guy who wore, this was the defense secretary who wore a COVID shield over his face, by the way. Let's not forget that.
With the mask?
With the mask.
With the mask and the face shield, just in case. This is also the one who was like absent from the job and had all these surgeries and like didn't tell anyone. Nobody knew where he was. That's kind of a problem in case of an emergency, not knowing where he is. So had no problem voting for him, had no problem voting to impeach Donald Trump. And by the way, also opposed Matt Gaetz. I mean, they just have this nasty history of not aligning with Republicans when it really counts. Murkowski has absolutely no defense. You are not from
Alaska?
a state. That's what I'm saying. You are not from a state where like this should be an issue at all. What are you guys doing in Alaska continuing to vote for this woman?
Who knows? But I do think that some of this comes from, look, these guys don't often, they speak in these like sort of vague terms as far as why they're in opposition to something all the time. I mean, all the politicians do this, to be fair. I was looking this up before the show trying to find like, was there any sort of explicit statement as to what exactly they found, for example, Hegseth to be like unqualified for and in what capacity. And there was no like explanation really that was present. It was just that, well, I just can't in good conscience support this. But why?
Yeah.
Why?
Right.
Why? I mean, look, if you have a valid reason, express yourself, at least, especially to your constituents.
Yeah.
But that's not what we have here, is it? It's just that I just can't in good faith. So we're left to sit up here and speculate and guess as to why exactly you're doing it. I don't really understand the whole, well, at least with Hegseth, as far as what he's specifically what he's going to be tasked to do. How he's somehow unqualified, considering that he's been there and done that.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what the hell they even mean by that, but apparently they believe that he is unqualified. I despise politicians altogether, but that's a little cliche. But I especially despise when there can't be really any sort of explanation as to when they vote for or even against, or especially, against something that you would think would be, I guess, favorable to their specific party. They have to like kind of talk around it. And then it's early on, so I think this tends to happen, especially every two years, right? Early on into these new terms, you get people that often defect and say whatever, and then we go 2 years and everybody forgets that it ever happened, and then they don't ever really get primaried at all. There's no concerted effort to get them up out of there. So I think definitely with the Republican Party, if they want to move forward, definitely away from this old guard, they have to be taking tally here. Yeah. Right. And then, look, if that's not your guy or gal, get them out of there.
Right.
And actually go through with it.
Right. So Susan Collins, she has been in office since 1997. And by the way, this is going to shock neither of you. When she first got elected, she pledged that she was only going to serve 2 terms in the Senate. She believed in term limits until she didn't. And so now she is planning to seek re-election in 2026. That would be her 6th term. And if reelected, she would become the longest serving senator in Maine's history. Lisa Murkowski has not mentioned whether or not she plans to run, but she's not up until 2028. So
I have to say, probably the worst governing system that has ever been conceived on planet Earth is ruled by these old hags. I'm sorry to call them that, but that
they are.
It's like these like feminists, this is a terrible system of government, and we just cannot allow. I mean, these people they're saying in good conscience, they're just falling for, or maybe they're not even falling for, they might be just willingly going along with this, but it's just a media smear campaign. It's not anything beyond that. Hegseth is much more qualified. Trump needs reformers in there. Hegseth is a reformer, as you said, Sarah. There is no excuse to be doing this stuff anymore. So yeah, like Eric said, you got to get him out of there. This is ridiculous.
One of Murkowski's she released this very long statement on Twitter, and part of her statement, she said to the feminist part of this, she said, "While the allegations of sexual assault and excessive drinking do nothing to quiet my concerns, remember, None of these have been substantiated. These are all just, this is the rumor mill.
It's a hit job.
Exactly. Do nothing to quiet my concerns. The past behaviors Mr. Hegseth has admitted to, including infidelity on multiple occasions, demonstrate a lack of judgment that is unbecoming of someone who would lead our armed forces. I'm sorry. You mean to tell me that if someone cheats on their wife, that makes them unqualified to lead the military? Shut up. How many of those people does she know already who are sleeping with other people? I don't like it. I don't like it, but it has nothing to do with being qualified for the job. Eric's about to blow a gasket. Let me tell.
If we want to go there, all of those pieces of shit are disqualified. Every last one of them. We know they're into some dirty stuff. We know that they're sleazy. We know that they're sleeping around. You all are part of a fucking cabal. Excuse me, a criminal cabal. And to act like you're gonna have this like moral high ground. Oh well, he split from his former marriage. That questions judgment. Well, it questions all of y'all's judgment in that capacity. What the hell are we talking about? Amazing. I can't believe that.
And that's why, to Logan's point, it's all contrived. I don't believe that you actually believe that.
Yeah.
You do not believe the words that you're saying. It's all fake. It's all manufactured because you know that you need to vote no. You just need to try to give yourself a reason. And this is going to be your reason. I really don't like.
He's not nominated to be married to.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's not. We're not putting him in charge of marriage counseling. Yeah, we're not putting him in charge of marriage counseling in this country. It's literally he is going to run the organization that needs to be the greatest killing machine in the entire world. That's it. That has absolutely nothing to do with marital problems. None. So we'll see what happens there. But to Logan's point, I don't think that it will be a problem as of right now because Vance will be the tiebreaker there. But the fact that we have to go there after what happened in the election and the results is really embarrassing for the party. Before we go to break, I do want to get y'all's take on, you had Joe Biden getting sending out all of these pardons for all these people who were totally innocent. Dr. Anthony Fauci, totally innocent. His entire family, the Biden crime family, totally innocent. And so then we saw news today that Donald Trump is terminating Dr. Anthony Fauci's taxpayer-funded security detail.
Yes.
So that's Mike Pompeo, right? Security detail gone. John Bolton, security detail gone. And now Anthony Fauci, security detail gone. And, remember Anthony Fauci, when he was in his position, he was the highest paid government official, got paid higher than the president at that time. And after that, he was still getting taxpayer funded security details. So I love that Donald Trump is doing this. He's like, yeah, you can't have it forever.
Yep.
He said, I think that when you work for government, at some point your security detail comes off. You can't have them forever. So I think it's very standard. If it was for somebody else, you wouldn't be asking the question. And you got to believe that some of this is a little bit of retribution of just like, yeah, you guys trashed me and I'm not going to have taxpayers pay your expenses anymore. But overall, even if it wasn't Anthony Fauci, I don't care who it is. I'm in total favor of that. Why should that weasel have to get security for his entire life? Hire your own damn security. You know why you're getting death threats? Because you're a piece of shit. Why should I have to pay for that?
Yeah, Pompeo, I think, was like $2 million a month in taxpayer.
That's insane.
Yeah,
that is insane.
What are we paying for?
That's what I'm saying. And by the way, is anyone really coming after Mike Pompeo?
Yeah, I mean, Trump says only consequential presidents get shot at. I think if you're like part of the
that's what, I mean.
DC
I don't believe
blob,
that
nobody's really after you.
That Mike Pompeo and John Bolton, and Anthony Fauci, I would say, all three of these guys, they're only hanging on to the security because they think that it makes them feel
They're cool.
It feels relevant and important. If they're like, I need security, there's too many people after me. Like everyone's already forgotten your name except Anthony Fauci because we all want you in prison. I'm sorry, below the prison.
Yes, that's what I always say. So yeah. Call that. I mean, excuse me, but you shouldn't be able to, sleep on the tit, and especially with those guys, for the most part, they're all unelected.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when did this even become a thing? Yeah, I didn't even realize that we had to do that.
Y'all are all unelected, and you're now you want the taxpayers on the hook for everything that you do, especially a guy like Fauci. Man, you made plenty of money being in that position that you were in. I believe that you can afford it. Hell, if I could afford security, you could afford it. Fauci, I think you'll be all right. You'll be all right. But you should be under a prison.
For sure.
That's like for sure.
I really want to see how this pardon thing plays out because it's going to be one
Extradition.
of the greatest.
Biden didn't pardon himself.
I know.
Our president noted.
He
So I don't know if Biden will be. Biden should probably be in a nursing home though, so I don't know if he should necessarily. But he didn't pardon Mayorkas or Adam Schiff. I mean, there's a lot of people who have committed crimes that were not pardoned.
Nancy Pelosi, I notably was absent on that list.
Yeah.
Burks
I'm
wasn't
sure
either.
I know
as far
why.
as the whole COVID stance,
Yeah.
Burks, I don't think was on that list either.
She wasn't.
So
She's
just as culpable as that clown
I still
Weasel.
want answers. I just still want answers. It will be one of the greatest injustices
Yeah.
in this country if we still don't get some sort of closure on that entire time period. And heads have to roll.
Agreed.
Either literally or figuratively. I'll let you decide. So before we go to break, I do want to ask you guys this. If you were Donald Trump was asking you, they had like plain evidence on Joe Biden. They could choose to go after him or not. Do you tell him, yeah, I think we should definitely pursue it? Or are you like, listen, the guy's about to die. Like, let's not.
Well, it's less
'Cause
about
I'm going for the
that.
jugular.
Yeah.
You have to hold these people accountable so it never happens again.
1,000%. I agree. I do think that for the minions that basically operated either on his behalf or the old guard's behalf, I think they're going to be far more. If the idea is to send a message, it's going to be more, I guess, widespread in terms of who feels it. If you go after the guys that were like basically acting on his behalf, because he's almost out of here anyway. I don't think anybody here would be surprised if tomorrow we got a notification saying he's like in the hospital for whatever.
I would guess maybe he's dead in 6 months.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And I don't say that like with
no,
any
it's
sort of
like we've seen the decline, man.
Right.
Nobody here would be surprised if that were to be the case. And there's some other guys that got a lot of years still, I believe, left in them. That if you are going to go after some of those folks, you go after them as opposed to Biden.
Yeah, I agree with Eric. I think it would be probably more consequential if you go after some of these people who are behind the scenes and who are sort of like, the shadow government people. That being said, I would do whatever Trump asked of me. So if he asked me to, I would do whatever he asked. So.
I'm
loyal.
Yes, you are. I am reminded of the meme that's like, why not both? That's what I'm thinking. Is you're like, no, I would just go after the. Why not both? All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. First, I want to thank our sponsor here, Patriot Mobile. So, Patriot Mobile is your only alternative to all these big mobile companies who, I don't know if you realize this, they are funding the causes that we're fighting against. I see them when I go undercover at these, pride festivals where they're providing all sorts of child-friendly trans items. That's not a thing. But they're there. Okay. T-Mobile was there. I mean, they're all there. They're all in on it. So if you want to have a cell phone service that they're not like, you're not going to compromise on quality. You're not going to compromise on convenience, but they also support and share your values. Go to Patriot Mobile. The odds are they're going to save you money and you're going to be getting the same service from the same network. They have all three major networks. Okay. So go check them out. Go. They're supporting all of our causes. And by the way, they're really putting their money where their mouths are. They've been instrumental down at the border, helping out, Yaku Buyan's organization. They are really, really like the greatest patriots that I personally have ever met. I love these people. They're all great. Go to patriotmobile.com/Sarah. Go check out their plans. They've got a plan. They can customize everything. Okay. You can get a phone, you can get a new phone number, or you can keep your own, customize it however you need. Just go there, check them out. patriotmobile.com/Sarah. You can get a free month of service with promo code Sarah. I'm not telling you 100% go there and switch. I'm just telling you go look. Okay. Go check, go see how much their plans are going to save you. And remember, you are supporting another patriot rather than big mobile. patriotmobile.com/Sarah. I'd like to take a moment to just reflect on the historic week that we have just had in this country. This is day 5. We're rounding out the first week of Donald Trump's presidency. I'm not a historian, okay? I can't recall anything like this ever in the history of this country with how much action has actually happened. And so we've been talking about, obviously the all the deportations, they started.
They did.
They started. There were these photos that came out of these. I mean, they're illegals all lined up waiting to get on the military planes. There they are. There they are.
Oh,
bye-bye.
So beautiful.
Bye-bye. Do not come back. We don't want you. Goodbye forever. So many more of those to come. I know that I don't think we have this, but I know that there was footage of the U.S. military arriving to the southern border. Oh my God. I mean, just...
Yep.
I don't know what it's like to do heroin, but I feel like that must be what it's like to just inject it into my veins. And it's just like, oh my God, this feels amazing. We've been waiting so long for this. And so we've got all of these things going on. But how about rounding out the week with news that Russia is ready to broker a deal with Ukraine? Zelensky has signaled that he is ready to broker a deal with Russia, so long as, he's like, I just want to make sure some European officials are there. I guess he doesn't trust Donald Trump to have his best interest in mind. I don't know. But you've got just Donald Trump getting in his first week. You've got all of these things happening. You've got all of the Paris Climate Agreement gone, World Health Organization gone. What we talked about at the border, the January 6th pardons.
Pro-life
pardons that I want to get into.
Gone.
DEI gone. There's only man and woman. There's only two genders.
Affirmative action gone.
Gone. It's like, I've never seen freaking anything like it. And so now on top of that, to round out the week, you have this news that Russia is like, yeah, we're ready to talk. We're ready to come to the table. Vladimir Putin didn't just say that Donald Trump has the ability to broker this deal. He said something that, of course, Donald Trump has been saying this entire time, which is, if I were there, this never would have happened in the first place. I want to play Putin, basically, I believe this was yesterday, making the same type of statement. Watch.
If he had been the president, if the victory wasn't stolen from him in 2020, maybe the Ukrainian crisis that arose in 2022 would have never appeared.
So you've got that. And then you've also got the fact that Donald Trump is not only making these big moves with the stroke of a pen, he's out there in North Carolina today, going and talking to Hurricane Helene victims. Joe Biden completely ignored these people. Their lives were turned upside down. Their homes were devastated. And Joe Biden's administration was like, oh, here's $770. Sorry about your home being gone. By the way, we're out of money, so don't ask us for more. They're going to visit the people who were affected by the wildfires in Los Angeles. People who, by the way, probably hate him.
Yeah.
Like, those people probably did not even vote for him, but that's not what it's about for him.
The Palisades is more red. They have a decent amount of Republican voters there, I believe.
I can guarantee you it's not 100%.
Well, I know it's not 100%. I know, but I think either way, it's a good sign that he, again, this is what Biden was saying, that he was president for all Americans, which is a total lie.
Okay.
But Trump actually is. Trump wants to unite the American people, and it's just great. He's moving like a million miles an hour. So I think the media has actually had a real tough time trying to figure out an attack on him, because so many things are happening at once that they're having trouble deciding, like, oh, what do we make the next big scandal about? Yeah. And it's amazing. It seems like Trump is up at 7 a.m. every day and then working until like 1:30 or 2. It's
insane.
Like, isn't it nice to have a president again? Yeah. This is what an actual president looks like. I mean, every day, just this week, every day has felt like it's Christmas.
I know.
Yeah. It's beautiful. All of the things that are happening. Every single headline is just like, Trump puts up another win. Trump puts up another win. Oh, there's another win. I am still not tired of winning. Nope. And it's just been a beautiful ride. I cannot wait for the next 4 years. But I am so impressed and so happy and overjoyed that we won, and it's just the beginning.
Stephen, can you put back up the picture of those men? I'm sorry. I was told that it was like women and families. That looks like a whole lot of young men to me. Oh my God. Hold on.
They're in chains. You're in chains.
Feels so good. That is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my entire life. And somehow I'm strangely turned on by it as well. Eric.
Yeah, man, he really hit the ground running. Like, and it makes you think. It's like, what the hell are these guys doing? Not only before him, but during the rest of the, various like other positions that exist within government, where it seems like everybody just sits around with a thumb up their butt, right? But yeah, to his credit, he's doing a lot of what he said that was exactly what he was going to do. And this was the point that I've been making on the show. I think there's a lot that's within his power, whether it be to do the executive order stuff that we might not necessarily be a fan of. If we're talking about what's specifically within his power, I think less people have an issue about that. Again, this is the executive branch, is it not, right? Like so that's his job, especially when you're dealing with like international relations. So whether it be with what's happening, this immigration situation, as well as the crazy amount of money that they had spent on these other foreign affairs, that's specifically what he is tasked to do. Yeah. Right. So I get it. I get it why people feel like, they're absolutely stoked. Obviously, one of the big promises that he made that a lot of us wanted was getting Ross out of prison and a full pardon. That was amazing. That was absolutely amazing. And he even shouted out the Libertarian. It's funny, on the day of, we were talking about it, and I leave, and then it happens. Yeah. Right? But yeah, like
I'd like to believe it was because he had a line into the show.
Yeah.
Oh, Eric, you're right. I forgot about that. I'm going to do it.
But no, that's incredible, man. And look, I even said, I have absolutely no problem saying on the show, because I said it publicly. Apparently, people close to Trump have said they floated around this idea of trying to, though it's not going to be that easy. I already know it's something like that. Getting rid of the federal income tax. I will come to this damn show in a MAGA hat if he somehow, if and I mean,
no, I want you all decked out in it, not just MAGA.
I'll be red. I mean, red's my favorite color
MAGA
anyway.
Hat,
so
shirt.
I'll rock it all. If it's like definitely not a situation where like the taxes are just shifted and I'm taxed in some other way. If it is a legitimate, no condition, federal income tax basically banned, which is illegal. It should have never became a thing. I'm draped up and dripped out with MAGA stuff.
What if he ends the Fed?
Oh, that. I don't know what.
That's a little bit more ambitious.
That is ambitious. If he somehow ended the Fed, then he's our guy. He's the most libertarian president to ever exist. I mean, who would you say? Maybe Coolidge before him? Yeah. I would say Trump would. By and large, if he somehow got rid of the Fed, which it should be eliminated, and he got rid of federal income tax, he's the most libertarian president of all time.
Yeah, I think
it's not even close either.
I think we should probably. I think Trump has earned his place on Mount Rushmore.
I agree.
Right now,
I agree.
think he has shown himself to be a great man of history. We're only 5 days in right now, and as you said, promises made, promises kept. It is unbelievable to see a Republican politician who actually delivers for Republican voters. What a novel concept.
And one thing I think happened, I don't mean to cut you off,
you're
but
fine.
no, because I it's probably going to add to your point. That 4-year gap had to mean something.
It did.
Man.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe we will be looking back on that because it's a completely different scenario. We know he lost, and he has 4 years to like kind of think about this. And it seems like the approach is he learned so much. Like, and the approach to this presidency is far different. And it's almost as if he did win 4 years ago, is he operating like this?
No.
I don't think he does.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. And that's what is so miraculous about all of this is how dumb are the Democrats? This guy wrote. They rigged an election against a guy who wrote a book called The Art of the Comeback. And they gave him 4 years to plan everything he would be doing differently. And now they are reaping what they've sown. It is beautiful. It's a wonderful day. It's morning in America. We are full on MAGA and America is back.
Yeah. It's I was thinking about that. I was like a little thought experiment the other day of just like, how different would it have been had not just Donald Trump not gone through that, but America not gone through that?
Right.
You can't reflect on that and come to any other conclusion than this was all God's design.
Well,
This was God's plan for America, really realizing how close you can come to losing your country and really appreciating all of it. And appreciating Donald Trump. And so you had Donald Trump learning all of these things that he had to learn through the 4 years of Joe Biden's presidency and all of the lawfare and everything. But you also had Americans just being like, oh, actually, who freaking cares what he's tweeting when Joe Biden is literally burning the country down?
Yeah.
Right? The perspective was it all had to be there for the 4 years in order for us to get to where we are now. So
I agree.
It's just really, I mean, you reflect on it and you're like, this couldn't have happened any more perfully when you look at it. I mean, people had to go through pain, but it got us to where we are now.
Look, there's plenty of examples like that over the course of human history, but you have a working example that's happening right now, and it's in Argentina, where unfortunately a country has to get so screwed up to where people finally realize either how they could have had it better, how the people that they had been supporting over the years were actually against them. They're not really advocates of anything that they want. And they had to experience all of that in a long period over a period of time. And so now people at least are willing to entertain something different. Right. They're willing to entertain something different. And I think going through that 4 years, the initial 4 years, and then having to go through the 4 years of Biden, it just gave everybody, I think, a new perspective. So they were willing to try something new.
Right.
It didn't just happen in Argentina. It's happening in America right now.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And I think, all of these things could be done. Like we could actually deport illegal immigrants. Right. Wow. We could just do that.
It's literally this easy, guys. Day 5. We're already saying bye-bye. It actually is that easy. I know the Democrats told you for years, well, we're waiting. There it is.
We need a border bill. We need a border bill. We need all this.
Well, we're waiting for Congress to act. No, you're the president of the United States of America. You can do this if you want to.
And I think everybody agrees, libertarians included. Like, definitely, if you are going to have a military, does it not make more sense for them to be, I don't know, defending your country here?
Right. Exactly. Everyone else is.
Every other country.
Yeah, exactly.
Having all these damn bases and everywhere else. That's where most of the conflicts are happening. And it's like, why? And it's crazy because now we're thinking about it like, no shit. Like, no shit. That makes the most sense. Like that's well within their ability. Like, why aren't you there? Right? Yeah. Why wouldn't you be at the borders handling like aren't you supposed to be protecting America?
Yep.
Why the hell are y'all over? But we got so accustomed to it.
Right.
We got so accustomed to this happening and America having a president damn near everybody else's war, everybody else's conflict, to where now when they start dealing, like, I don't know, with your own conflicts, you're like, oh shit, we could have been doing it. 1,500. What do you mean? We could have long been having our own active duty military members like there.
I would say that here in America, we did have a great reset. It just wasn't the one that the globalists were expecting us to have. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then I do want to talk about these pro-lifers who were pardoned on such a momentous, day with the March for Life happening. First, I want to thank our sponsor here, Angel Studios. So Angel Studios, they're the ones who brought you Sound of Freedom. Such a great movie studio, because what they're doing is they're providing you, similar to what Eric is doing with comics, right? Eric was like, I'm tired of the she, him, and they, thems in these comic books. Why do we have to have wokeness in comics? That's what Angel Studios is doing to the movie industry. So they brought you Sound of Freedom. Now they're cranking these woke-free movies out. Now they have Brave the Dark. This is a true story about a troubled teen struggling to survive in a world that has let him down. But, it's actually really uplifting, the film is, and inspiring. It shows the strength of compassion and the impact of never giving up on someone. I don't want to give it all away. All I want to tell you is, if you want a good family-friendly movies, woke-free movies, you got to go check out everything that Angel Studios is putting out. This is the latest. So I encourage you to go get your tickets, Brave the Dark. This just today, in theaters today. Get your tickets at angel.com/Sarah. You got weekend plans now, so go get your tickets, angel.com/Sarah. On the eve of the March for Life rally taking place in Washington, D.C. today, Donald Trump pardoned friend of the show, Bevelyn Williams, and the rest of the 23 pro-lifers. 23 pro-lifers who were, of course, among the those who were persecuted by the Biden regime, the Department of Justice, by, of course, manipulating the FACE Act that exists, the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances. And I knew over the years, I knew that there was a handful of them. We talked to Bevelyn Williams. Like, I knew that I didn't realize there were 23. That's so unacceptable. And so finally, Donald Trump, I know that there was some talk. He pardoned the J6ers, and because I follow Bevelyn and her husband's like, guys, it's fine. He's gonna do it. Yeah. Don't worry. I'm not worried. You shouldn't be either. But I was like, oh my gosh, has he forgotten them? Has he forgotten them? No, he didn't. And so they are, of course, if they're not, all of them are not back home with their families. They will be shortly. And I want to play the moment that our friend Bevelyn, who was sentenced to 41 months in prison, 41 months in prison for sitting outside of an abortion clinic and praying, 41 months in prison, away from her family. She didn't have to serve at all. That's what they wanted her to do, away from her family, away from her young child. I want to show you the moment that she was reunited with her family. Watch.
Look at mama. Look at mama. Look at us.
Long kiss.
I'm home. I'm free. I'm free, y'all. I'm free. I'm really free.
Thank you, Jesus. The Lord is good. The Lord is good. Right, boo boo?
Oh, Jesus. Let me get in the car. Let's go.
Yeah, it's so cold out here.
So really sweet moment there that never had to happen, by the way. It never had to happen. They robbed this family of their time together, along with 23 others, because they dared speak out against abortion. Well, let me tell you, the tide's turning, okay? Because I believe, wasn't Donald Trump the first president to speak at the March for Life rally, his first term? And now you had in Washington, D.C., many lawmakers who were participating. And I want to play for you. Let's go ahead and play. Let's play JD Vance, what he had to say at the March for Life. Watch.
So let me say very simply, I want more babies in the United States of America. I want more happy children in our country. And I want beautiful young men and women who are eager to welcome them into the world and eager to raise them. And it is the task of our government to make it easier for young moms and dads to afford to have kids, to bring them into the world, and to welcome them as the blessings that we know they are here at the March for Life.
Dare I say it's cool again to be pro-life? It feels like it.
Yeah, I would argue, but among the, I almost call them something that is probably Satanist. Look, there's some evil people in this world. Let's just say that, okay? There's a lot of them. They're in Hollywood. They're in pretty much every form of entertainment. I don't think they're changing their positions on this by any means, which unfortunately they've been able to determine what is cool. That said, I do think that at least on this issue, you are starting to see at least people be far more open about, being pro-lifers, right? And that's regardless of really political affiliation, which is how it should be. I mean, the way that, unfortunately, the concept of baby killing has been just weaponized in the West over the last, you can just talk about the last century and just how now it's just basically a form of of medicine now. Like, you know what I mean? Like
reproductive health care.
Yeah, that's what they call it, right?
Which is strange when the entire point of the operation is to kill a human being.
Exactly.
I would say that's terrible health care.
Yeah, that's absolutely
It's also not reproducing.
Yeah. No, not at all. It's the complete opposite. But it had got weaponized, convinced a lot of particularly young women that this was all that it meant to be a woman, was to kill your kid, right? So if we can move away from that, right, and we got some, I mean, it's going to take some time. I think this is a generational thing, man. When you consider how young people feel about this issue, it's a generational thing. So it is going to take a minute, but I do love that everything's moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. He kind of hit on all the horrors of abortion, so I won't necessarily do that. But one thing that JD Vance did say, it wasn't in that clip, but he said, like, the true benchmark for national success is not our GDP or our stock markets. It is whether young families can afford to raise babies and have hope for their country. And that's what one step that I think Trump and Vance are taking that is crucially important, is to give people back their country and give them a future that they can be hopeful for, that they want to raise babies and reproduce. And, if nobody's going to die for like, oh, well, we have like these 20 million immigrants coming here and my country that I grew up in just looks like this, this strip mall. That is not anything that people want to like bring their kids in. I'm sorry. But that's going to make you hesitate to like, okay, well, are my kids actually going to have a nice future here? Is it just going to be more of the same? No, the opposite of that. If you give people a real nation that they can be proud of and happy for, then you're going to see a lot more babies turn out. And I think that's what's happening.
I totally agree. Yeah, no. And what's so encouraging for me to see is, you not only have Donald Trump, who I understand even with this last campaign, there were some like the messaging for the Florida abortion, it was the most staunch pro-lifers didn't like some of the optics of that. I would argue Donald Trump got you the overturning of Roe versus Wade, period. So in actions, he has been the most pro-life president that we have ever seen. He was the first president to show up at the pro-life March for Life rally. He was the president that got you the justices that overturned Roe versus Wade. And by the way, the position that he held after that was the exact same position as the Supreme Court of the United States. His position was it should go to the states, which is why it got overturned. So at worst, you could say he agrees with SCOTUS. I don't think that that's a knock on him, right? But more importantly, he has someone in JD Vance who is ready to carry the torch. This is what, to your point, Logan, this is what JD Vance is all about. I want to see more babies born. How do we do that? By encouraging, by bringing the cost of living down, by making it comfortable for these families to actually raise their children in. He sees that vision. And if Donald Trump is grooming him to become, to carry the torch, I have a lot of faith in JD Vance being the one to carry that torch. So I just love seeing that.
Yeah, and a lot of these, I really think a lot of these people that were as you said, the staunch pro-lifers that were signaling against Trump and urging people to vote against Trump before the election should really apologize before they start taking credit. I know I saw them yesterday all taking credit for the peaceful pro-life protesters that were pardoned. They were all thanking Trump. It's like, well, if you had your way, he wouldn't be there to be able to do that.
Right,
so
exactly.
There needs to be a little retrospection on that part, in my opinion.
I totally agree. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Well, the ladies over at The View can't stop melting down. I don't know why. We just finished talking about how great this first week has been. It's good for everyone. It's morning in America, as Logan said, and they're finding something to bitch about. And so I want to play for you Sunny Hostin with quite the interesting mental gymnastics about Donald Trump's second presidency, I guess. Watch.
So in thinking about that and Donald Trump saying things that this country would be a meritocracy, you're talking about a man who didn't become the president of the United States because of merit. He had no political experience whatsoever. He had no business experience. He was given everything that he has. He is a legacy hire. He is, if anything, a DEI hire.
I think she's a lawyer or something. She's
those were just some of the things that I was thinking about.
So when you look at the types of dumb shit that she says, combined with Kamala and Fannie Willis, I'm convinced like they're just giving out those law degrees to anyone, I guess.
That's what it feels like.
Just anyone can just go pick one of those up.
And then she got the SEALs just clapping in the background. Like, look, if you want to say you didn't have any political experience, whatever, but no business experience,
right?
Yeah. What planet are you on?
I built a multi-billion-dollar real estate empire off of he got like $1 million loan from his dad or something. I mean, he also hit like rock bottom through his work, and then eventually, again, as we mentioned earlier, made a comeback. But he got to the presidency through merit. He beat out all of these seasoned politicians. I mean, to say that Trump is anything but, made his successes off of merit is just, these people live in a different world.
I also, I take issue with anyone who thinks that you need to have experience in government in order to become president.
These guys are the experienced ones.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want someone who is a career politician or a career bureaucrat. I want a businessman.
That's not really a useful thing. And that's what I think the key is when you talk about merit, especially in a position like that. You don't want people that have been politicians basically their entire life, which is what we've had. This is why I'd argue that the country is so screwed up, because you have a bunch of inexperienced lifers. Like, they haven't actually lived and experienced anything other than
the real world.
Yeah, the real world, other than being a politician, which you're playing by a completely different set of rules. Money, you don't play by the same set of rules that the private institutions have to play by. When you're a member of government, you can just steal from people or print it out of thin air. So it's amazing that the whole business thing still rubs me wrong. I don't care how you feel about Donald Trump, but to say with a straight face that he has no business experience has got to be one of the most retarded things that I've ever heard someone utter. Ever. That is so incredibly stupid.
That's
I'm sure,
hard, too, because the View utters a lot of retarded things.
Yes, that's
I'm sure the View's 100 viewers really loved it, but I think they're dwindling.
Probably most of those 100 are family members of those women. So when you're looking at organic views, it's probably more like 10.
Yeah,
true.
The audience plus 10. Yeah, it's probably what it is. If someone was like, "Hey, we'll give you free tickets to the View," I'd be like, "No. I'm not doing it for free.
I want nothing."
What are these going for?
What are me to go?
Yeah, exactly.
Me to go there.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, what number are we talking about? You pay me in order to go, because I'm not going there for free. That would be an assault on my ears.
What are these going for on StubHub nowadays? How much can I sell these for?
Yeah, exactly. Precisely $0. Sorry, that's a very, very bad way of doing any sort of business if you want to make money. All right, one more time here. Before we go, I need one more hit. There it is.
Yes. So beautiful.
Oh, that's the most beautiful sight I've ever seen. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Don't come back. Our military is now at the border. We do have borders once again. We're making America great again, and you are not part of our plan.
So true.
You are not part of our plan. I'd tell you to get in line, but I don't want you here. I actually don't want you here. If you disrespected our laws enough that you thought that it was your place to cross our border, don't ever come back. Did I make myself clear?
I don't think I have anything to add to that. That was pretty good.
And it's only going to get better from here, folks. This is day 5. We got 4 more years of this. You're welcome. We'll see you Monday.